wasting my time with too many reflections. Yeah. And since you've been gone, I've been trying to fix me. And I'm getting there. Yeah, I'm getting there. Lately I've seen you on television.
Greetings, and welcome. Welcome to the Red Hot Mic. I am your host, G. Alpha Palmer. Let's do it this way. Let's come on in here. It's the Red Hot Mic. And this Friday night. All right. I hope you're feeling all right. I hope you had a good week. Come on in here. Come on in this house. Because you hear the lions and tigers and bears go by. Come on. Come on in this house. Welcome to the Red Hot Mic. I am your host, G. Alpha Palmer. Here's a toast to you the most. Pomegranate juice, good antioxidant for you. Come on. It's the Red Hot Mic on a Friday night. We're coming at you with a heavy heart tonight. We're going to talk about it. Coming at you. You've got to continue to do what you're supposed to do, even with a heavy heart. So tonight we're going to ruminate, elevate, and activate again, because that's what we're supposed to do. Everything is about lessons, learning, elevation, extension, expansion. And as we do that, we learn, we get better and better and better. So come on in the house. Let's have some fun tonight. Well, I don't know if I can have fun tonight, but I am going to enjoy myself. Because I'm going to share with you my heart. Can I do that? I'm going to share my heart with you tonight on the Red Hot Mic. There's no sense of being upset. There's no sense of being discouraged. There's no reason for that. Because we all got to go to that same place, that same path. That's what is required. That's what is required of us all. So we're going to do that. Yeah. It's one of those things. It's called life. It's called life. Do me a favor and subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell. I really appreciate it. I'm going to let you do that right now. We need your help. Tonight, we're going to talk about the marital crisis in America and around the world. We're going to talk about marital crisis. Yes, we are. Among some other things. I have some preludes before that. So let's go. It's the Red Hot Mic. I'll be right back with you.
In our current global climate, we're facing challenges never before experienced by this generation. Oppositions where no one seems to have clear directions or answers to the risks facing us. Confrontations like racial and gender unrest, political gerrymandering, toxic leadership, economic crisis, global pandemic, health threats, pre-existing medical conditions, isolation, boredom, and loneliness are driving people to desperation. As a result, people are confused, afraid, anxious, and perplexed, and they need answers to some tough questions and even tougher situations. They are looking into different outlets for answers to gain assurance and consolation. Some have drawn closer to the embrace of family, while others look more towards their friendships, education, and even religion. What we need is a fresh voice of truth and clarity, and not a stale religious echo from the past. There's a re-emerging voice on the horizon that isn't afraid to stand alone and give spiritual and mentally sound direction to a world searching for answers. G. Alfred Palmer offers a voice of sound human development and empowerment to those willing to hear. There's a need for new ideas to old principles, a perspective from a timeless origin, but with current vision, a thought leader who understands what it means to stand alone and speak truth when some are hard of hearing. But if you've been waiting to hear a voice that opens the gates of freedom and breaks the shackles of confusion to allow you to step forward into the dawning of a new and exciting future, then it's time to bridge the gap with Dr. G. Alfred Palmer. He is a dynamic speaker, thought leader, and entrepreneur, equipped to elevate, expand, and extend the development, empowerment, and leadership of his audiences. He stands ready to speak at your next event. His delivery is guaranteed to refresh, entertain, and transform. G. Alfred Palmer bridges the gap from uncertainty to the purpose, to passion, and leadership. Book him today for your next event, and you won't be disappointed.
Welcome back. You caught me. You caught me. What can I say? Thank you. Thank you for coming in. You know, I'm trying to get more and more proficient at doing some of these things because it does get to be a bit overwhelming doing it by yourself, but that's okay. I'm learning. Good evening from our nation's capital. G. Alpha Palmer here, and I'm coming at you tonight. I want to start off the program. Let's do it the way that we're supposed to, and then we'll get into the other things as we go. Let's turn off some of these lights. Let's get rid of some of this. Okay, let's get rid of some of this. And the reason is because I just don't want. I don't want it to get in the way. And but I like the lights. I do like lights. Do you like lights? I like lights. Especially different color lights. That's why at Christmas time, when I decorate, I use a lot of lights. I really do. And I like a lot of different color lights. I like different color lights. We're going to get started tonight. We're going to start with our fragrance of the evening. And our fragrance of the evening is called Valentino Aqua. Valentino Aqua. And this particular scent is an earthy, uplifting top notes of juicy mandarin and savory tomato leaf. Introduce a aromatic heart of tart, dry sage, and deep, satisfying patchouli over a base of sophisticated iris and leather. Okay, so this is Valentino Aqua. So let's give it a shot. Let's see what we got here. I've never tried this before, so we're trying this together. I definitely can smell the leather. Ah, man, I like this. Valentino Aqua, an earthly, uplifting top note. With top notes of juicy mandarin and savory tomato leaf. I've never been one to think about tomato leaf being in a fragrance, but I mean it's I can't say that I smell it, but I can say that I like this particular scent. There's tomato, there's iris, there's mandarin, pukochi. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Patchouli and leather. I do like it. I would wear this. It is a masculine smell, without a shadow of a doubt. Especially with the leather. I can smell the leather. I can smell the I don't know what the patchouli, I don't know what that is, but So I can't identify that, but I can identify the iris and tomato. Yeah, I like it. It's something that you might want to check out. Something you might want to check out. I like it a lot. Okay, that's our fragrance of the evening, and again, we do that in homage of Kevin Samuels. Cheers. Okay. Well, what we have next? We have next is our answer wheel. Now, last time I did the answer wheel, I have to admit, I forgot to take it down afterwards. And because of that, I did the whole broadcast with the answer wheel sitting right next to me. And I looked over there and on the computer, and it didn't hit me that I should have taken it down. But I guess things will get better. No, I know things will get better as we go along. So let's add the answer wheel into our broadcast. Now, when we talk about the answer wheel, let me see. I like my music. Let's try to find my music. It takes a while. There it is. There it is. All right, we have our music, and it's time for the answer wheel. Now, one of the things I've decided to do with the answer wheel is to not try to bring a question, but to just comment as I believe that I need to as the answer comes here. Now, the answer is, I believe, it depends on what you believe. If you don't believe that the answer wheel can be a connection to the universe, then you're right. But if you can believe that, you're right again. So it's totally up to you. So anyway, it's the red hot mic, and it's our answer wheel. And last time we did the answer wheel, the first time that I got no answer, and so that was different. And so tonight, hopefully, we'll get an answer. And different. And what we've said before is that the answers are: ask a friend, yes, maybe, definitely, no way, and try again. So whatever it is that the question you have, I don't know what that question is. I'm not even going to try to give you an answer for it, but I know it looks like we're going around, and we're going to have an answer tonight, I hope. And it looks like the answer is going to be, it looks like it's going to be maybe again. We get maybe pretty regularly. So the answer is maybe. Maybe. What's the question you have? What is the question that you have? I'm not going to forget to take it out today. But the answer is maybe. Maybe to whatever it is that you're looking at. Maybe it's the right answer. Maybe it's the wrong answer. But I've learned this about maybe. Maybe gives us, again, the ability to make a choice. And gives us the opportunity to exercise our free choice. So we don't have to worry about anyone telling us what to do. Not even God is telling you. Not even the Creator is telling you. The Creator is saying, what is it that you desire? But you have to remember one thing. That desire that's inside of you, that comes from the Creator. Right? That comes from the Creator. So the bottom line is maybe is to go along with that hunch, that instinct, that desire that you have right now, right? It's not a matter of being told what to do. It's being able to have that free moral agency to make a choice in your own life. In other words, there is no wrong or right. It's just what it is that you want, that is right for you. What do you feel is right? And how do you do that? Because sometimes I'm not sure. What you have to do is get quiet. Excuse me. Get quiet. Get somewhere quiet like this. And just look inside yourself. I've told my clients over the years, I gave them an exercise on how to really hear from the inside. A lot of times when we look inside of ourselves, we have a tendency to look up, because when we look up, we're looking up into our mental faculties. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but try this. Try this if you will. Instead of looking up as you ask or look for an answer, I should say, look down. Look down inside yourself. Look down. And as you look down, what you'll understand and notice is that it's not a mental answer, but it's a heart answer. So what is your heart saying? Get quiet. Get quiet. And ask yourself, what is the answer to that? What do I hear? See, what we've got to learn to do is to learn to hear what's inside of us. So many times we're looking for voices outside of us. Look inside yourself. The answer is there. It really is. Get quiet. Get still. Get a deep breath and just rest in the ability to know that the answer is in you. It's already been given to you. You have the ability to answer maybe. Yeah, you do. You have the ability to answer maybe. Yeah. So once again, it's the red hot mic. And it's the answer wheel portion of our program. I'm really glad that you tuned in. Once again, I'm going to ask you if you would help me. If you would subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell to help this channel to grow, so that we can continue to help folks, even if it's how to listen to what's in your heart. Yeah. What's in your heart? In my heart, in your heart. I know for me tonight it's a heavy one. It's a heavy one. You know, a lot of times I don't even know how to say it other than that. Life presents challenges. Doesn't it? It really does. Life presents challenges. And what we've got to learn to do with those challenges is to stand up and meet those challenges. I'm being challenged tonight. If you're a part of my social media group, you probably already know that I lost my eldest brother. I didn't lose him. He wasn't lost, but he transitioned last evening, a little earlier than this, maybe a few hours earlier. And he was my oldest brother. Now, what makes it really painstaking in a way is that 6 months ago in December, I lost mine. I didn't lose her either. You see, these old ideas, you have to really catch them and really turn them, because they've been a part of all you've been for however long you've been. So 6 months ago, my sister, that's above me, transitioned as well. She took her rest after a battle with cancer. And so my brother also, with the battle with cancer, transition. So I stand against cancer. I stand against it. It has no authority. It has no meaningfulness, no connection with me. And you got to learn how to speak to things, not in no religious sense, but you just talk to them and tell them. that has no right, because you are the one that has been given the right. And this is not religious stuff. It's not. It's really not. It's it's the basic instructions on how or about living effectively. How are we going to live effectively? So yes, my brother transitioned last night, and talking with my mother today. My mother, by the way, just turned 92, and so we talked, and in talking to her, one of the things that we talked about, we brought. See, here's the thing: when a person lives their life here, their name, their essence, and everything about them is about this sphere, this dimension, this realm. And what we did, my mother and I, we talked about how we remember my brother, the good times, the happy times, what type of personality he had and what he exemplified. He was an even keeled kind of guy. I never remember seeing him get really upset or really low. I never, pretty even keeled. And a really, really, seriously, a nice guy. A nice guy. Very small in stature, probably a little, if anything, a little under 5 foot, maybe a little taller. But a very, very easy personality guy, really. And we had some really great times together. We really did when I was younger. And I appreciate everything that he shared with me and helped me to move into manhood, because he shared with some things with me. I think that he played in a lot of senses. He played a fatherly role for me, even though he was my brother. So I'm appreciative to him. And in talking with my mother, we were just highlighting the characteristics of him and what we remember. You got to understand this. I understand what religion says. I promoted religion for a long time, decades, actually. And I've learned some things. And the things I learned is that religion is mistaken. And that whole idea of heaven and hell is a religious ideology and a religious dogma to control and to keep us in line. But the truth of the matter is this. Here's the truth. When a person comes here, they come here assigned and given direction to do certain things. It's called purpose. Purpose is just actually one thing that you're given to do, one thing. Everything is given just one. And that thing needs to be found because there's a clock ticking. And when the clock runs out, my mother was saying this to me today. She was saying to me, God is in control. And whatever God says or whatever God wants to do, it's okay with me. Now, this is a 92-year-old woman. 92. And she just lost one of her other children 6 months ago. And I dare say her favorite child. Parents have favorite children. They want to say that they don't, but they do. And this was her favorite, my sister. And she transitioned. And my mother took it hard. She took it hard. But in talking with her today, because my younger sister who received the news about my brother said that she wasn't going to tell my mother until today. And so she did. So I called my mother to check in and see how she was. And we talked. and we talked, and we reminisced about my brother. But at the same token, she talked about her being okay with this particular transition as opposed to the last one. And I get it, because my brother was not one that was around a lot, for different reasons. But at the same token, when he was around, his presence was big, even though he was a small in stature, big in personality, and quiet. Yeah, quiet. He would be celebrating his I want to say 72nd birthday. I may be mistaken, but I think his 72nd birthday would be the 29th of this month. So he's 71 when he left in transition. Yeah. And my sister is much younger, much younger. Your lifestyle has a lot to do with how you transition and how early. Okay. Diet, smoking, and I do cigars every now and again. Probably need to get that up. I really not probably do need to get that up. But it's no excuse for that. But I do need to get it up. And there's other things that we need to look at in our lives to do things differently. But I can say this about my brother. He was a good person. His religious proclivity was toward being a Muslim. And that's fine. I believe that religion is something that we do here to try to help us ourselves reach God without understanding that God is already in us. And it's not just being a Muslim, it's just religion in general. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing to know that when we leave here, we return back to that which before we came. What was that before you came? We have no idea, do we? We don't. We have no idea what it was like. But that's where we go back to. I call it returning to source, RTS. Return to source. And so the memory of my brother, me and my mother were celebrating and reminiscing today about him. That's what we have, memories, pictures, videos, right? But he's gone. The reality of him is gone. Now, my sister, the reality of her is gone. They've transitioned. Sir Isaac Newton, in his first law of thermodynamics, said that energy is neither lost, or I should say decreased or increased. It's just transitioned. It's transitioned. That's what happens. We're transitioned back to the source from which we come. The whole idea of heaven and hell is religion. The truth of the matter is, we're going back from where we came. And all we have left is the memories of the person that was here. Good, bad, or indifferent. Right? We want people to suffer, don't we? Because of what they did to us. Or what they didn't do to us or for us. That's what we do. But the truth of the matter is, the Creator thinks on a whole entirely different level. So, this here is a toast to my brother, Harry Gaylord Palmer, also known as Pumpkin. That's because we call him Pumpkin. I never understood why, but anyway. Yeah. And his Muslim name is Talib Muhammad. Toast. Toast to the memory of my eldest brother. Well, now let's transition and get back on track to what I'm supposed to do. It's important for you to understand this. Purpose takes no vacation. Purpose is the reason why you're here, and the clock is ticking, so you have to do what you were sent to do. And you can incorporate, just like I did, that what you're going through into being able to go forward in your purpose. But the bottom line is this: you're supposed to fulfill purpose. That's the reason why you're here. You're here to serve, not to be served. So I'm here to serve tonight. And so I want to talk about a crisis that is occurring here in America and around the world, and that is the crisis of marriage. It's a marital crisis that we're experiencing now. It is a marital crisis. One of my mentors, Dr. Miles Monroe, said this to me once. Not just to me, but he said it. But I took everything he said personal. He said that with crisis, every crisis, comes opportunity. I'll say that again. It's not an original. With every crisis comes an opportunity. Now, how do we find that? That's the thing. That's the key. That's the key of finding opportunity within crisis. There's a crisis right now that's going forward. Crisis is a marital crisis. The crisis is people not understanding and knowing and appreciating and valuing marriage. Some say it's an institution. No, it's not an institution. Marriage is not an institution. An institution sounds like a hospital or a mental health facility or an insane asylum or something that's confining, right? That's correct. That's correctional. That's punitive. It's not. It's really not. Marriage and the marital status is more than that. We're going to talk about that tonight. And what I do is, again, I try to take stock of the landscape and to examine some trends and ideas that are taking place throughout the community, culture, and clan. I try not to look at one, but I try to ascertain more than one because I believe in the company of two or three witnesses that the word is being established and that idea, that image is being solidified. So it becomes important for us to understand that we need to have more than one example. So I'm going to share with you some examples of marital status or marital crisis in America and around the world. Kenan Thompson and his wife. Kenan Thompson is the long-standing member on SNL, Saturday Night Live, and he's been there for a long time. He played Fat Albert in the movie a while back, and he's played in several other movies. I believe he was in Barbershop as well. I can't remember which Barbershop he was in, but he was in Barbershop as well. Him and his wife have broken up. There was a long-standing relationship, I believe, in marriage. We look at Kim Kardashian and her husband, Kanye West, and we see, there's some people that may say, oh well, mental health issues and all these kind of things are played a part. Very well could have been, but those things should have been taken into consideration before the commitment to marriage took place. Then there's the issue that occurred recently that we've seen in the news for a while is Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And it was a defamation character thing where it became very apparent that that Amber Heard was out to destroy Johnny Depp, and it backfired on her, I think, to a degree. And now Johnny Depp is saying that even though she's indebted for over $10 million, he's going to let her off the hook, which is, I think, is a mistake. But there has to be a consequence, not just losing, but there has to be consequences to those kinds of behaviors. He shouldn't, because if she won, she would not let him off the hook. That's for sure. So I think that's a mistake, but he has the right to do that. And a lot of times we allow love to make us allow us to make unwise decisions. And in this particular case, I think it's unwise. She needs to, and it happens so often because these females will say that they had kids by a certain individual, and they know they haven't because they had numerous partners, and there's no consequence. There needs to be consequence for untruths, deception, lies, and manipulation. There needs to be, but that's Johnny Depp. Some would say that it's compassion and mercy. I think it's unwise. They won't learn unless they suffer the consequences. The next couple is Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. And I say it again and again, a woman with a hyphenated name, there was always going to be a blank, some distance, and something between the two of you, because she sees herself more than what you are. I'm a firm believer that if she doesn't take your name, she doesn't take your goods. Okay, but anyway, that's another issue entirely. We've been around the circle, around and around and around with Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. So I'm not going to choose to go there tonight, but I'm going to go to another incident or another couple, and that's Anthony Anderson and Alvina Anderson. He is the star of Blackish. He's played in a number of movies. Who graduated just recently up the street from me at Howard University, and received his degree. And as he was receiving his degree, there was another, Taraji P. Henson gave the commencement address at Howard University. A lot of folks come through Howard. I'm proud of that. Being that I've gone to Howard. So here's the deal with Anthony Anderson and Alvina Anderson. He was at Howard, and I believe he wound up leaving Howard his junior year because of some financial problems, and start working on his acting and comedian career, and began to gain some traction in California and LA. They got married. They met at Howard, and they got married. Now, to the best of my knowledge, she did. I believe she applied for divorce. She filed for divorce. I believe in 2016. I'm not sure if that's the right year, but she filed for divorce just as he was just getting ready to gain the starring role in Blackish. Well, she canceled the divorce filing because I guess she thought that if she divorced him before he gained that traction, and she would miss out on some of the financial benefit that he was about to receive. So she changed her mind, and then again filed 5 or 6 years later, or however it's been. And so the idea of marriage in America and around the world is losing value. And I think it's losing value because we don't understand the truth about marriage and why marriage is important. I will say this to you. Any person who fulfills purpose, any person that's really successful at what they're supposed to be doing, there is a husband and wife. There's a husband and wife. And it's important for that. Because we'll talk about it in a minute. But let me just share some statistics. And a lot of times people want to go by what they feel. But feeling has nothing to do with statistics, data, and information. Because statistics, data, and information give us and paint the landscape for us. It makes very real and tangible what is going on in our community, culture, and clan. What we're experiencing on the horizon. We can't and we cannot operate and function appropriately without understanding what it is that we're coming up against. And it has nothing to do with feelings. Now, feelings are important. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but feelings are important, but it's not important when it comes to identifying the things that are coming against us out there. It's not a matter of what you feel. It's a matter of statistics, data, and information, because the information has been gathered. The trends have been set and established. The data has been compiled. The information given. So what we have to do is be non-emotional. Emotions have a part, but not when it comes time to gather information. No, we have to understand that information gathering has nothing to do with emotion. It has to do with facts, data, information, and statistics. We have to cancel feelings because feelings are going to come into play later down the road because it does play a role. Okay, so let's look at some statistics, some marital statistics. Marriage among people of color in the United States is 30%. All other groups is 48%. Almost 20% difference. So what is that saying? People of color are not marrying. People of color are not marrying. And I dare say some of us say that we're not married because there is some liability. There is no benefit to marriage for some. But what I'm going to address tonight is going to show some different ideas. The next thing is 70% of marriages in America, 70% of people of color are getting divorced, 70% in America. Divorce rate among all groups is just about 51%, a little over half. So half the marriages totally in America are ending in divorce. But 70% for people of color. 70% of the marriages. For every 10, 7 end in divorce. 80% of those that end in divorce, 80% of those that end in divorce are initiated by the wife. Now that's a telltale sign. And it's not, listen, my goal is not to denigrate or put down women. But we've got to clear and we've got to speak to the truth. Data, statistics, and information shows that 80% of divorces among people of color are filed by the wives. So 8 out of 10. Okay? Now, 1 out of 4 women of color will ever marry. 1 out of 4. So that means women of color are not being married, not only not getting married to people of their own persuasion, but getting married, period. The next closest to women of color or black women is white women who get married at a 48%. But anyway, so that means 25% of black women get married, 48%, almost half of people, white women get married. Now in 2019, 48, let me put it this way. In 2005, 2005, 43% of women didn't get married. 2008, 48. I'm sorry. In 2005, in 2005, it was 28% that didn't get married. In 2008, 43%. And in 2019, 48%. The amount of women that are not getting married is increasing in America, in the black community, in the community of color, not getting married. They're getting educated, but they're not getting married. And it's not that they're not getting married to black men or men of color. They're not getting married at all. And the thing is, other cultured women are getting married. The statistics even show that there is an increasing marital rate for men of color to women outside of their race. So the truth of the matter is, black women are not being selected. Other women are. Now, I'm not. I've been arguing with folks, but I'm not going to argue. I'm just going to state the facts, the statistics, and the data. The bottom line, black women are not being selected. And the reason why they're not being selected, look around you. Look around you. Their selection and the choices they're making are about themselves and not about the betterment of the species or the community. And when they wake up, many of them, it's too late. It's too late. I look at the whole incident with Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey, and some people say, well, women are starting to do what men have always done. That's a masculine mentality. It's actually misogynistic and a chauvinistic kind of mentality. It's not profitable to think that way and to operate and function that way. Doesn't make that way right. It wasn't right, and it isn't right. And so now you want to act dysfunctional, the way dysfunctional males were acting. So you want to act like that. Wow. But that's what we're experiencing. And so men are not marrying. The marital rate is decreasing among men, period. It's decreasing. And the reason is because of this. It's because men lose 70% of their wealth as a result of divorce. They are the losers in divorce. The judicial system is established regarding divorce is established to benefit females. Luckily, Johnny Depp did not experience that, but now he's going to let her off the hook. Mistake. Anyway, marital status in America and around the world is meeting some really difficult times. And one of the things that I see that what we're doing is It's the way that we're selecting our partners. It's important to understand this. Men determine relationship. Women determine sex. She's going to determine who she's going to have sex with. But men are going to, on the average. I mean, anything else is weird and just not normal. When you see on social media where a woman is on her knee proposing to a man, it doesn't look right because it's not supposed to. It's not normal. A woman should never, ever propose to a man. Ever. And if a man accepts the proposal of a woman, he's in for a rude awakening. He is for a rude awakening. That marriage will not work. It will not work. But see, what we're doing now, I hear people talk about the law of attraction. The law of attraction. We hear that notion a lot. People talking about, I'm attracted to her, he's attracted to me. And we base this law of attraction on two of the elements of what I call the elements of masculine and feminine evolution. And what we do is we base this so-called law of attraction on chronological development and physiological development. We base it on whether she's of the age or she has the physical makeup that we're looking for. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those things, but those seem to be the primary developmental factors that we take into consideration and help us to determine if this is the right mate for us. And that's a mistake. It is a mistake. Anyway, we're going to go back. We're going to continue to go through this, but I'm going to take a break and hit a commercial, and we will be right back.
In our current global climate, we're facing challenges never before experienced by this generation. Oppositions where no one seems to have clear directions or answers to the risks facing us. Confrontations like racial and gender unrest, political gerrymandering, toxic leadership, economic crisis, global pandemic, health threats, pre-existing medical conditions, isolation, boredom, and loneliness are driving people to desperation. As a result, people are confused, afraid, anxious, and perplexed, and they need answers to some tough questions and even tougher situations. They are looking into different outlets for answers to gain assurance and consolation. Some have drawn closer to the embrace of family, while others look more towards their friendships, education, and even religion. What we need is a fresh voice of truth and clarity, and not a stale religious echo from the past. There's a re-emerging voice on the horizon that isn't afraid to stand alone and give spiritual and mentally sound direction to a world searching for answers. G. Alfred Palmer offers a voice of sound human development and empowerment to those willing to hear. There's a need for new ideas to old principles, a perspective from a timeless origin, but with current vision, a thought leader who understands what it means to stand alone and speak truth when some are hard of hearing. But if you've been waiting to hear a voice that opens the gates of freedom and breaks the shackles of confusion to allow you to step forward into the dawning of a new and exciting future, then it's time to bridge the gap with Dr. G. Alfred Palmer. He is a dynamic speaker, thought leader, and entrepreneur, equipped to elevate, expand, and extend the development, empowerment, and leadership of his audiences. He stands ready to speak at your next event. His delivery is guaranteed to refresh, entertain, and transform. G. Alfred Palmer bridges the gap from uncertainty to the purpose, to passion, and leadership. Book him today for your next event, and you won't be disappointed.
And welcome back. Welcome back. It's I'm learning to just incorporate some different things. Is that okay? I hope so. Hope so. Okay, let's pick up where we were talking about this whole erroneous notion of the law of attraction. It's not so much that it's erroneous, that it's just it's given more credence than it needs to be because of what it presents for us. And so we look at this law of attraction based on chronological or age. How old is she? How old is she? Is she the right age? Does she meet the age requirement that I'm looking for? Or does she has the lips, hips, and fingertips, which is the physiological development that I'm looking for? Or does he have six figures, six pack, and 6 feet? You know, so so what we're looking for becomes the standard, and nothing of real substance. Only things that change, physiological and change, chronological. These things change; they don't remain the same. So how can you base a relationship on those kinds of unstable criteria? But that's what we do. So yes, we talk about the elements of masculine and feminine evolution, how we're supposed to evolve. And those are two criteria: chronology or chronologically, and then physiologically. Those are two, but they're not the only two. There's others, right? Intellectual development, their ability to reason and understand. If a person cannot reason and understand, then you have a nincompoop. You don't want to be with a nincompoop, but you won't understand that because, or even consider that because he looks good. She has all the physical requirements and she's the right age. We won't even look at the psychological development of the person, which speaks to their mind, will, and emotion. The development in their mind. Some people are not sound mind wise, and in their will. Their will is misplaced. They have desires and leanings toward things, and then their emotions are not fit or developed. So psychologically, they're not mature. They haven't developed, right? The next one is cognitive development, where they can't reason, think, or remember. Their cognitions are off kilter. So it's important that we understand these things before we find ourselves in a relationship, right? That ends up in divorce. That's why relationships end up in divorce, because we're not taking the time and asking the right questions and seeking the right answers before we get married. Because we think it's just so easy. Oh, if it doesn't work, I can get a divorce. But that's because we don't understand the importance of marriage. We really don't. I believe we did more in the past than we do now. But now it's about, I love you because of what you can do for me, or I love you because you make me feel good. See, those things are not solidified. They change. It's sort of the same idea with the age and with the physicality of a person. They change. The lips, hips, and fingertips don't remain the same. 6 foot, 6 pack, and 6 figures doesn't remain the same, right? Okay, so when we talk about the cognitive development, we're talking about mental or mind function, how the mind functions. Does the person is the person mentally sound? Are they able to put things together in a way that's productively or counterproductively, cognitively? Mental development speaks to the brain development, and to also speaks to their which when we talk about brain development, we're talking about biological. Does their brain work right? Does their brain work right? And then secondly, does their mind function correctly? There's a difference between the brain operating in the way it does it fire? Does the synapse fire? Does the brain function properly? But then there's a mind, right? And does the mind work properly? The mind is, are they able to put together ideas, thoughts, patterns? These are important. These are the things that are important. And then the next one is emotional development, which speaks to the whole idea of emotions. Now, what I hear people talking about their empaths. I hear this a lot lately. Everybody's an empath. Listen to me. I believe that people who are empaths or call themselves empath are just people who are just really emotional, unstable. I really do. I believe they're unstable. I believe that they're overly emotional. They put too much value on emotion. Now, here's what I want you to understand about emotion. Emotion is to help, to assist you in times of good times or bad times, to help you to facilitate. It's like being on a road and you're in a car and driving or riding in this car. You need fuel in order for you to matriculate down the road and to navigate the different types of terrain that you may encounter. That's what emotion is. Emotions is the fuel that goes into the car. The car is purpose. So passion and purpose are not the same thing, because sometimes you're going to need in as far as emotion goes, you're going to have to get determined. You're going to have to get I don't like using the same old emotions, but maybe you get determined in emotionally. Emotionally, you refuse to lose emotionally, and it helps you to go up in some rough times. You may be going up in the road of purpose. You may be matriculating in a very tough stretch of road that's really, really tough, and you need that determination emotionally to be determined to not fail. Okay, so it's those kinds of things. Understanding the importance of emotion. Emotion plays a very, very important part. But this whole idea of being an empath, I don't see the legitimacy of it. The last one is philosophical development, and this is philosophical development is the way we see life, how we live our life, how do we enter life, and how do we see life treating us, and how do we react to that? Is the glass half empty or half full? That's your philosophical perspective. If everything's positive, then everything's positive. If everything's negative, everything's negative. That's your philosophical perspective. You know. So when it comes to this whole idea of relationship, what I'm seeing now, especially with men. Well, let's start with women. I'm seeing a hot girl summer and black girl magic. That's what we're seeing. That's where we're living. We don't need men. Yes, you do. And with men, we're seeing this whole red pill thing. And the red pill thing has some credence to it, but yet, like anything, it can be taken to the extreme. And that's what we do so often, is we take things to the extreme. We don't have a tendency to go toward the middle where there's more balance. We have a tendency, the pendulum always seems to swing to extreme from where it was. If we're at one end of the spectrum, we have a tendency to swing all the way over to the other extreme rather than toward the middle. So right now, what we're experiencing with this whole idea of the red pill, the manosphere, what we're seeing is this increase in masculine or masculinity awareness. I would say that it's masculine, but they don't understand the difference between masculine and masculinity. And I'm not saying everyone. I'm just saying people in general. Let me just clarify that, because there are people in the manosphere that do understand. And I don't want to judge people in the manosphere, because in a very real sense, I call myself more in line with the red pill. If I was going to choose between the red pill and the blue, I would choose the red. But there's another choice, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So the red pill, right? The next one is the blue. The blue pill, to me, is more of a toxic, masculine kind of ideology, and most of the time, it's because of how a male was raised. Most of the time, it's either a single parent home or it's a two-parent home where it was a matriarchal leadership kind of family dynamic. And so because of that, this blue pill becomes one of it's basically of deception and ignorance. Deception in that they've been deceived to misunderstand the true nature of masculinity. They haven't even been introduced in most cases to what true masculinity is, or toxic masculine, because of their father who was subjugated to a toxic feminine or matriarchal led dynamic. But I want to introduce another pill. I want to introduce another pill. We really don't need pills, but if we're going to have a pill, because this is what everybody's taking, because we're in a society where everybody's on medication. CVS is everywhere, right? In every corner there's a CVS, and we go into CVS and we can get. I mean, they've changed, but I mean, there was a time when you could find a CVS open 24 hours a day, right? But still, we have CVS, but everybody's on medication. Everybody's taking a pill. But we don't need pills. But I'm using this analogy to speak to a specific mentality, because I believe the red pill, the blue pill are mentalities. It's a way of thinking. It's an ideology. I'm coming with another ideology, a way of thinking, another pill that you can take. I'm choosing to call it. I don't know. I haven't checked it. I'm choosing to call it the green pill. And this green pill that I'm speaking of is one that's based on spirituality. It's based on the whole notion of what I call the dominion mandate, and it calls for masculine, actually human development. Calls for human development and for masculine and feminine evolution, and we've talked about those time and time again. Now, when we start talking about the whole idea of the green pill, the first thing that needs to be understood is that the green pill talks about and believes and holds the ideology that principles supersede laws. And one of the things that principles bring about is purpose. Principles and purpose precede laws. Say that 3 times real fast. Then purpose determines laws. Purpose determines laws. Laws dictate rules and guidelines. This is important stuff, guys. This is important stuff. Then masculine and feminine energy is identified as being binary energies, one independent of the other, but totally dependent on the other. Okay, and then there's the idea of masculine and feminine energy entering into this sphere and being transformed into masculinity and femininity from masculine and feminine. With that masculinity and femininity, gender is assigned. Gender is assigned because feminine and masculine cannot enter into this realm legally and lawfully without putting on a body. Okay? Once masculinity and femininity has entered into this sphere, Then there's 3 stages of development: boyhood, malehood, manhood, girlhood, femalehood, womanhood. In each one of those particular stages, are 8 steps or 8 elements of evolution. There's 8 elements to help a girl matriculate to femalehood, 8 elements for a female to matriculate to womanhood. And then there's 8 elements in womanhood to solidify womanhood. Okay? And it's understood that must be understood. Masculinity and femininity are bound concepts to this realm. Bound. It only operates in this realm. Once we leave this realm, masculinity and femininity are no longer used. They no longer apply. For my brother who's transitioned, masculinity no longer applies. Because it's for this sphere, this dimension. Once you leave this dimension, it is no longer useful. Now, let's get back, because understanding these eight elements of masculine and feminine evolution helps us to make the right kinds of choices relative to relationship. What's happening is we're not making the right choices because we ourselves aren't developed in those areas. And that's what we want to talk about and help people to develop through these and evolve first through the steps and then evolve through to matriculate through the stages and evolve through the elements of evolution, masculine and feminine evolution. So what constitutes a successful relationship? Well, first of all, you've got to be mature and evolve yourself. So many times we think that we evolve because we're a certain age or that we've got a certain amount of education. That doesn't equate to evolution. That just equates to you being educated or that you're getting older. Okay. But keys to relationship. Here's some keys to relationship. Women determine sex. Men determine responsibility. Men determine relationship and responsibility, actually. But men determine relationship. A key to having a successful relationship is connecting with the right person as opposed to a good person or a desirable person. So often we are connecting with desirable, and those desires are emotion, and emotions do what? Change, don't they? Not just from year to year, from month to month, week to week, day to day, hour to hour, moment to moment. Right? So if those things change and doesn't solidify a relationship, what does? What is a key to ensuring a lasting relationship if it's not those things that change? I talked about it earlier. It's about purpose. It's the masculine and feminine aspect of purpose. That is what causes a relationship to last, because the breasts are going to sag, the 6-pack is going to turn into a belly, right? The 6 figures are going to diminish, and the 6 feet won't be 6 feet anymore, right? So if we don't have purpose, or if we do have purpose, we have our relationship that's built on something that will last and not something that will dissipate. Because purpose is the reason why you were born. Being that it's the reason why you're born, it's the most important thing. I say it over and over and over again. Purpose is the most important thing. I hear people talk about purpose, but they're not. They talk about purpose, and they're not really talking. They're not really entertaining purpose. What they're really entertaining is passion. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about their passion, which changes. Purpose does not. Your purpose, everything that comes to earth has one purpose. Many functions, one purpose. Okay, so we talked about keys to a successful relationship. Let's talk about keys to a successful marriage. It's important to understand this. Men are required to love. That's important. Men are required to love, but women are not. Women are not required to love. That's a hard pill to swallow. So many men are looking for women to love them. And she's not going to love you the way you love her, because men look for love in a different way. Women don't look for love. They look for something different. They look at your ability to supply. And that ability to supply is based on respect. They respect you as long as you can supply. And it's not a bad thing. This is what women have had to do to survive. Right? It's what they've had to do to survive. It's called hypergamy or hypergamy, however you want to pronounce it. It's not a bad thing. It is what women have had to do to survive, because they don't have the ability to apply force, muscle, and violence in the same way that men do. In olden times, when there was war, women were taken as spoils of war, from the loser to the winner. And so they had to evolve, they had to get used to and grow accustomed to a new environment, new rules, new guidelines, new expectations. And they did that, and that as that continued to happen, it became a part of their psychological makeup, and it's called hypergamy. It's their way of surviving. So wives aren't required to love. Wives are required to respect. And the next key to a successful marriage is putting purpose first. Or PPP, putting purpose primary. Putting purpose primary. See, even if we were looking at a relationship, if purpose is first and is primary, you're gaining, or you're being, what brings you together or attracts you, law of attraction, is not based on physicality, but on purpose. And so when all the other things go away, purpose will always be there. That's why purpose is so important. Purpose, put purpose primary. Put purpose primary. And so when you do that, when you make purpose primary, everything else falls in its proper place. And the physicality and the age and all those kinds of things still can be a part of the equation, but just not the primary part of the equation. If you like certain things and certain qualities, there's nothing wrong with that. But those qualities should not take place over purpose. Okay. So this is why we're suffering a marital crisis in America and around the world. Because people are not putting purpose first. They're not placing purpose primary. People are placing prosperity primary. They're looking for money. They're looking for position. They're looking for power. They're looking for prestige, not purpose. And it seems like more and more, until we arrest the idea and understand that purpose, we must put purpose primary. Until we do that, our community, culture, and clan is going to continue to disintegrate. And it's up to us. Now listen, every one of us have purpose, and it's something that you're supposed to do. And until we find that thing, we're going to continue to look for lips, hips, and fingertips, 6 foot, 6 pack, and 6 figures. And we'll continue to serve, and we'll get 6 and 7 different relationships before we're 25. Before we're 25. And those are just the ones that we know about, right? Speaking about Lori Harvey, those are just the ones we know about. Because we know females are not going to be honest about the body count. They're not. But neither are males, because they don't know. They don't know. They just want to just keep getting notches. Anyway, the bottom line is this. If we're going to arrest this problem around crisis in marriage, we've got to understand the opportunities that present themselves. What are the opportunities? The opportunity is for us to fix this by rediscovering purpose. That's how we fix it. That's the opportunity that's before us. Finding purpose. Putting purpose primary. That's what we're getting the opportunity to do. That's what we're getting the opportunity to do. Are you willing to do that? Well, if you are, I want to send you something here. Let me see if I can find it. Real quick here. Real quick. Underneath, you see the ticker there. There's an email address and a website. Would you reach out to me? Let's talk. Let's talk. How are we going to heal our marriages? What can we do to avert this marital crisis? How can we heal it? How can we fix it? Because it's fixable. But it's going to take all of us finding purpose, the masculine part and the feminine part, and marrying those things together to forge fixing our community, culture, and clan. That's what it's all about. And if you can't find anyone like that that's willing to help you, all you can do is what you can do. But I dare say this. You will find that person. If you find purpose, you will. I believe that. I believe that. You will find that person if you find your individual purpose. Now, over on the other channel, Purpose Sphere, that we have, we're going to be talking about the components of how to find purpose. You don't want to miss that one. You don't want to miss that one. But also, what I would like to do, if you would be so kind, first of all, once again, subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell. Would you do that right now? I'll wait. Thank you. I need your help. I can't do it. And the only thing I can do is ask you for your help. Ask for your help. And if I'm under the ticker, you see the email address and you see the website. You can go to both, and you can pose questions. You can even talk suggestions of things that you would like to talk about. in this space, things of that nature. Well, look, it's Friday. It's Friday. Next week, I'm going on vacation. I'm going to be out of the area. We'll see. I may do some recording, and I may not. We'll see how it goes. But I've been put on once again. I don't know how many times Facebook has blocked my account because they don't like the things that I say. And a lot of the things that I say they misunderstood or misunderstand. And as a result of that, I can't stop doing whatever. I just have to use the available platforms that are open to me. But I have to do what I'm sent to do. So I believe for the next 3 days or 4 days, I'm going to be limited on Facebook. At least to the degree that they said but I've protested their discipline each time because they don't understand the difference between a girl, a female, and a woman, or a boy, a male, and a man. They think that I'm putting down females or males or whatever. Which is furthest from the truth. But the bottom line is, I can only use the platforms that are available. So, yeah, vacation is coming up. I'm going to be leaving for a week or so. But I may do some recording. We'll see. But anyway, I'm going to be closing up in a minute. So let's again look at the idea of we're in crisis, marital crisis. We're in marital crisis, but there are opportunities. There are opportunities for our therapists to help. You can find therapists, counselors, marriage, family, and counselors. You can find all types of people that can help. Right? Life coaches. They're out there. So it's up to you. There's opportunities. Take advantage of them. Well, this is G. Alpha Palmer, thanking you once again for the opportunity of being with you. And so we're going to close out and call it a day. And we'll see you next time. Peace.